Isn't that beautiful? Right, I'm going to pop those down because this is the one. This is the one, definitely. Right, that's what you're going to make for me.
This is what I'm going to make for you.
Lovely.
And
I like this.
This is a technique that a friend of mine developed in St. Louis. Her name's PJ Dutton, and she calls it color blocking. And she uses two different cards, two different backgrounds to make one card. Actually, she can make two cards from it because you use a piece from each side.
Okay. So this is PJ's trademark, is it?
This is PJ's technique, yes.
Okay, lovely.
And basically what I do is I start out with some cardstock here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to watercolor it. And I'm going to watercolor it by using a brayer.
Yeah.
Now, I have these tubes of watercolor.
And they're fabulous. You'll find the details will come up on your screen in a moment. So have a look out for those.
And I'm going to select 3 colors of paint.
Yeah.
And we just squeeze out about the same amount that you might put on your toothbrush. Maybe a little bit more. A little bit of green. I've got a little brown here. Yeah. And light blue.
So you can do different colorways for different people, can't you?
Exactly. You can choose the colors
and girl
right,
colors.
Right.
And like with my Laura, you'd use shades of lilacs and mauves.
Oh, there you go.
My youngest daughter.
Is that her favorite color combination? And you notice I start at the top and I pull down, and the reason why is because that applies the paint all the way around the brayer. Yeah. If you just work back and forth, then you only end up with paint on half of the brayer.
Right, so you want it on all of it.
Right, and I also used shrink plastic, and only because that was convenient, and if the watercolor dries on the plastic, you can always spritzer it to add more water to it and make the paint spreadable. So I'm pulling the paint all over my card here, and you can see I've got this wonderful kind of mottled color of watercolor on there. And that's going to dry. That'll take about, maybe 5 to 10 minutes to dry. Or you can take your heat gun and dry it.
Right.
I have a finished one here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp that and emboss it with black embossing powder.
Lovely.
So I'll put my tray out here.
I love this, but I'm very, very fond of this calligraphic swirl. Calligraphic, whatever.
Calligraphic sounds about right.
Yeah, it works, doesn't it?
So we tap our Versamark ink on the paper, or on the stamp, and then I'm going to stamp it on my card. And then next, I'm going to use the black detail embossing powder. And just spread that over the whole surface of the card. And I'm going to ask you to...
Thank you. That's my job.
Use the little snappy tray there.
I'd like to be useful.
And then we can just heat the powder up so that it's embossed.
I like watching it turn. Oh, come on. Get off.
Now, I've already made it. Yeah, sometimes you end up with a little static problems. That's what I use, a little sparkle sweeper. I have a little whisk broom that sweeps up the dust from that. May I borrow your
sparkle sweeper?
You sure may.
Thank you very much. That's it. Sparkly swept.
Now I have 2 masks here. One in a green and brown and one in kind of the purpley and mauves. I think Laura would like that one.
She would. And this is your calligraphic swirl there. I've got mine over here, so that's yours.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and my knife.
Now the ruler, this is no ordinary ruler, is it?
It's a clear plastic ruler, and it has the grid on it working in horizontal and vertical lines so that it allows you to line up. If I line up along the edge, then that tells me I'm going to have a straight cut. Now, I'm not going to measure perfectly on here because I have a little trick. Yeah. And I'm going to cut right through the center.
Okay.
Next, what I do is I take one half and I lay it over the top like a puzzle. Yeah. And then what that does is that gives me the exact measurement to cut my second mask in half.
I can tell you're a crafter.
Well, I learned this from PJ, so...
Yeah. We like PJ.
PJ did a great thing.
PJ.
So just cut carefully.
Yeah.
Next, what'll happen is when I lay my 2 pieces together, I have a perfect match. Yeah. But I want to cut this out with a pair of scissors because then this top edge isn't quite matching.
Okay.
So I'll cut that out real quick.
Yeah.
And I am cutting off the little embellishments on the mask, and if you want, you could add feathers or something else on the top of that.
Well, especially if you've gone for some of the earlier stamps and you've got the mince flourish there as well. That would be nice. I think that's the thing. When you get the Stamp Addict shows, it's to make the best. And honestly, order as many as you can from the one theme, because they will all match so beautifully together. And I tell you that you only have to pick up one stamp, and it will give you so many ideas as to how many different cards you can make for all different occasions. You can use mince flourish to make bouquets. You could use mince flourish for fabric, for background, for curtains, for wedding cards. I mean, they're all going to be the most amazing, inspirational bunch. Now, see, I'm talking over what you're doing. Sorry,
That's okay.
Judi.
That's okay.
Tell me what's going on now.
So now what I'm doing is I'm stamping that calligraphic doodle, and I'm just stamping over the whole surface of the card here. And you notice that I'm stamping off the edges, I'm turning the stamp a little bit, and it creates a really easy pattern. You really don't have to think about it. You just want to make sure that you've covered the whole area of the card. And then we're going to emboss that with gold embossing powder.
Now, I noticed this done black on a black card earlier on.
Oh, yes.
And it looks fabulous.
That's something that most people don't think about, is stamping monochromatically.
Yeah.
So if you stamp with the gold, or excuse me, with the black powder on the black paper. Now sometimes you end up with a little bit of a problem here with some static on the paper, so you could just brush that with a paintbrush,
Yeah, we've had
a dry
the paintbrush before. Let me take this out of the way, and I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll hand it to my beautiful assistant.
Okay. And then with that, we're going to emboss this.
That's my favourite bit still. Ready,
It's
steady.
so fun to see it turn colors. There you
Look
go.
at that.
And you just keep moving the heat gun around to make sure that you melt all the powder.
Yeah. Otherwise it will just brush off, won't it?
Right, right.
Beautiful background. But that, you see, you could use that. That's the calligraphy. But you could use that for anything, couldn't you?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be Mardi Gras. It could also be weddings. You can use it for Christmas.
Yeah.
You can use it for birthdays, anniversaries, babies, anything. It's such a versatile stamp.
Yeah. Fabulous.
And so I'm almost finished here embossing the rest of my card.
And your stamps, they're actually made in La La Land as well, aren't
They're
they?
made in Los Angeles.
Yay.
I have a wonderful group of people who love making stamps, and they make all the stamps right there in Los Angeles.
Very talented.
Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trio tape, and I'm going to apply that to the back of the mask here.
Doesn't
Just
it make
a little
it
bit.
easy?
Oh, it just makes it so much easier.
It's a very, very good delivery system.
And then just place one half of the mask here, and then apply more tape.
Yeah.
There we go. And then that's the second half of the mask.
Lovely.
And your finished card.
See, it's so easy, and yet it's such a beautiful card.
People
Here
will
we are.
wonder how you got that cut exactly in
Yeah.
the right spot. So, yep, there we go.
And that's a PJ trick.